In today's video, I'm going to talk about our nightly trending list, which is going to be sent out to all Stock Volatility Box members. Now, before we go through the list and why they're the stocks that there are, let's first talk about what happened today. And I find the setup to be especially useful on days like today, in which we have drastic moves one direction or the other. In today's case, that was a rally. We see that with the S&P 500. This is the daily time frame chart, and to the left, we have the weekly. If you take a step back here, off of the weekly, we're just bouncing right into the market pulse line, and this looks like a normal pullback. However, on the daily time frame right here, the setup looks much messier, right? Here we have, for example, price action that has been below our market pulse for quite some time. And now you could argue that we're just bouncing into the market pulse, really setting up the overall next leg lower. So the question starts to become, well, which is the winning side of this? Is it the bullish trend continuation, where the weekly time frame chart is really the one that is holding the truth right here? Or instead, are we really gearing up for a down move? Days like that, I think the nightly trending list setup is more useful than almost any other setup that you could find, mostly because it forces the trade to prove itself to you. Now, in today's case, we have 6 different stocks. Now, a quick preface for those of you unfamiliar with the setup. The overall idea with the nightly trending list is we manually go through the market each day. We find a list of anywhere between 3 to 6 stocks that we think are likely to trend for the next day. That's based off of either the buying or the selling activity we saw in that particular equity or ETF, whatever it is, for the day of. And there's also daily bias usually going hand in hand supporting that move. Now, this move still needs to prove itself out to us, which is what I'm going to talk about today. What are the levels that price needs to break above for the setup to be valid? And how do we then actually take advantage of this setup in a consistent, systematic process? So let's get started. The list of 6 stocks that are sent out to members today, which is going to be a trending list for tomorrow, is ALKS, CTSH, Marriott, Marathon Oil, Mosaic, and then the XOP ETF, the oil and gas production ETF. So let's go through each one step by step, and I'll have the daily time frame chart on the right hand side here, and then we'll switch the left hand side from a weekly to a 1-minute time frame. Now if I zoom out here, let's start with the first stock, which is ALKS. Now in ALKS, what you should notice is price action for the most part today rallied. It rallied all the way into our volatility box zone. Now the setup tomorrow would be valid in that we're looking for this particular stock to continue trending bullishly if price action breaks above our cloud level, which was in today's case 32.14, and that needs to happen within the first 15 minutes after the market opens. So 6:45 a.m. Pacific. By that time, price action in ALKS must have exceeded 32.14 without a gap or anything of that sort. So now if price action does break above that 32.14 mark in the first 15 minutes tomorrow, that really is our sign that, hey, the buyers have taken the baton from today's activity and they're looking to continue to keep pushing ALKS up higher. Right? So that's really how I'd read it. If you look on the daily time frame here, you'll see price action had pulled back to the market pulse, chopped around here sideways for a bit, and now we had even our oversold confirmation suggesting that we're now continuing the next leg up higher. So that's the first move, ALKS. We're looking for a break of 32.14 in the first 15 minutes. If that happens, then we know that, hey, this is now a trending stock, and we're looking to try and play that on a bullish scenario. Our risk or our stop is outside of this gray dashed line, really giving the trade enough room to play itself out. And we're looking for that same bare minimum move on the opposite side. That's our first target. And then really looking to see how high is high. Oftentimes, a lot of these trending stocks give us that nice 6, 7, 8% moves. And we're able to catch it pretty much at the start of the day through a very rigid set of rules. So that's the first stock, ALKS. Now we move on to the next one, which is CTSH, Cognizant. Now in Cognizant, very similar concept here, but a little bit more strength. Price closed right inside of our clouds. The level to beat tomorrow is 77.29, which is right here, right at the edge of the clouds. If price action exceeds that, so basically we just continue right from here tomorrow morning, keep breaking up above 77.29, then that's where our bullish setup is triggered, our breakout setup, and we're looking at Cognizant to be another stock that we expect to trend up higher. Very similar here, you'll see on the daily time frame, a bullish market pulse, so bullish trend. We had pulled back to our market pulse line, so just a normal pullback, confirmed with an oversold signal, and we're now looking for that next leg up higher. So that's Cognizant Technologies. Now let's keep moving down. The next stock we had was Marriott. So if we pull up Marriott, Should be very similar, very routine now, but Marriott, the level to break, 150.27. We're looking for that same continuation. In Marriott's case here, if I zoom out, what you should notice is we don't have any oversold signals. However, the market pulse right here, the variable moving average, has just turned bullish, which is our one other bullish sign off of the daily time frame. So Marriott as well, a break above 150.27 is what would trigger us into this. Now keep coming on down the line here. The next one we have is Marathon Oil. Now, Marathon Oil also fits in with XPO, which is also on our list for today. So those two go hand in hand here. But Marathon, very similar here. The market pulse has just turned green, suggesting we're now entering a stage of acceleration from a period of more recent bearish activity. So a trend switch. The level to beat inside of Marathon would be 12.85. If we break above that in the first 15 minutes, then the setup is triggered, and we're looking to try and see how high is high using the market pulse here as our daily time frame signal. Now, next up, we have Mosaic. So if I come into the chart of MOS here, the level that we're looking to beat, 35.26. That's right here. You can see that in the stop level for the upper clouds. And you'll notice on the daily time frame, very similar to the last two stocks we've seen, the market pulse has just turned green. I can zoom in here so it's a little clearer. And we're looking for this continuation, this break above 786, to just continue taking Mosaic up higher. So that's MOS. And the final stock we have, or the ETF rather, is the XOP ETF, which might be the favorite play for those of you that are looking to try and focus on ETFs in the larger markets. XOP here, the level that we're trying to beat, 92.02. So a break really above that 92 mark off of the daily time frame, a bullish market pulse. We broke above our previous high right here, and we're looking to try and see, can we continue trending in the same bullish direction? So hopefully from today's video, what you have here is a list of 6 very specific stocks with very specific levels that we're looking at to try and see what happens tomorrow. Can we try and participate in this bullish move up if today was not a dead cat bounce, but instead the next leg continuation up higher? And this gives you a very narrowed focused list that you can start to pay attention in. Now, say tomorrow, none of these setups are breached and the S&P actually gaps down lower, we start to see bearish trend. Well, we never got triggered into any of these setups, so you're not playing the what if game. Instead, you're playing the prove it to me probabilities and using that to then try and participate in any moves up or down, conversely, for our bearish setups as well. Now, one last way that you can get all of these levels is to come inside of the Stock Volatility Box dashboard and just paste in that list, and you'll have all of the levels we talked about in today's video. We're focusing on the SS level, so ALKS 32.14, Cognizant 77.29, Marriott 150.27, Mosaic 35.26, Marathon Oil 12.85, and then finally the XOP ETF 92.02. So here's another very clean way that you can get those levels just like that and use that to focus in tomorrow really on the places in which we're looking for a breakout to trigger in any one of these 6 stocks. All right, I hope you found this video to be helpful. I'll make sure to link some other examples of walking through previous nightly trending lists as well. And you can also go back to see how do they look the very next day in terms of which setups triggered, how much did they trigger, how effective were those moves, things of that sort. All right, take care everyone. Good luck trading, and we'll see you in the next update.